So the Habs' Western Road swing didn't exactly start the way they were probably hoping to. Can they get back in the win column? We're going to talk about that and more coming right up. Well, hello and welcome to the pilot episode of Habs Hockey Report right here at Rocket Sports Media and the All Habs Hockey Magazine YouTube channel. We're so glad that you're here with us today. I should also mention we are a proud affiliate of the Hockey Podcast Network, and if you see right down here, there's a great little logo that says DraftKings. This video is presented and sponsored by DraftKings. You'll have that promo code right there in the corner for the entire video. If you sign up at DraftKings as a new user, they've got great incentives for you, whether it's sportsbook, daily fantasy, you name it. Just use that promo code THPN, thanks to the fine folks at the Hockey Podcast Network, and you're going to get some great incentives signing up for DraftKings. There's a link down in the description below for you to sign right in and take advantage of that offer, so be sure to do that. As I said, welcome to Habs Hockey Report. My name is Amy Johnson. I'm going to be your host for this weekly show. We'll publish new videos of Habs Hockey Report every Thursday. And to tell you a little bit about me and what we're going to do, this is a place, it's a quick stop for you to get all of the latest news about the Montreal Canadiens, their AHL affiliate, the Laval Rocket, and it's also a place for you fans to talk, to have some questions answered, and to just show the world what great Habs fans you are, because we know Habs fans, A, are everywhere, and B, they're the greatest fans in the world. I am a credentialed hockey reporter. I have been a credentialed member of the media covering the AHL affiliate of the Montreal Canadiens for Rocket Sports Media since 2015, back when they were the St. John's Ice Caps. But here at Rocket Sports Media, we've actually had a credentialed member of the press covering the AHL affiliate way back since 2011 when they were the Hamilton Bulldogs. So we've been doing this for a little while. We focus a lot on following prospects, following recent draftees. So we're going to bring you a lot of great stuff every week in Habs Hockey Report. We're going to get you all the latest news and updates about the Montreal Canadiens, of course. We're also going to touch on the Laval Rocket, give you some inside look at how they're doing. Also going to be featuring some exclusive one-on-one interviews with players, other personnel, right here. And then we're also going to have a fan segment each and every week. The fan segment is a great way for you to interact with us and with other fans around the Montreal Canadiens fan community. I mean, that's really what we're here for. We want to hear from you. So there's always going to be a way for you to show off photos or even video of your best fan gear, your fan caves, your cute, adorable kids and pets decked out in gear. We can't wait to bring that to you. Maybe they'll provide you a little inspiration. We're going to talk about that a little later in the show. There will be a regular mailbag segment. If you have questions about the Canadiens or the Laval Rocket or prospects, we invite you to send those questions in and we'll answer them for you here on the air. And as well, we're going to have a weekly feedback forum where we're going to ask you a question and we'd love to hear back from you. And on the following week's show, we're going to read some of your answers. And I'll give you a sneak peek before we get to that segment. This week's question is going to be, just since it's the first show, where are you watching from? We know Habs fans are everywhere. Where are you watching the show from today? We'd love to hear where you're from. Drop us a comment down below and let us know where you're watching from. So without further ado, let's get this party started. And we're going to start off with a little bit of Habs Happenings. Well, the Montreal Canadiens did start their Western swing this past week with a matchup in Winnipeg. Of course, the big hype before that game was actually going back to that playoff series last summer against the Habs and the Jets, when, of course, as we know, Jake Evans suffered a big hit from Mark Scheifele. It was very controversial. For some reason, that came up again already, since this would be the first time that Evans and Scheifele would be playing against each other since that happened. Wasn't a great, it was a wild game. 8-4. I mean, goals galore. Scheifele did end up dropping the gloves, of course, in the third period, but not with Jake Evans. It was with Chris Weidman. The Habs and their fans were riding high on a 5-game win streak, and saw that snapped on Monday night. So not the way they wanted to start the road trip, but they do have a chance to redeem themselves. They're appearing in Calgary tonight, in Edmonton on Saturday. Of course, they'll be facing newly traded Tyler Toffoli, who's been on a hot streak since he got traded to the Flames, tonight in Calgary. So it'll be really interesting to see how that all shakes out. Now, the other thing that's heating up right now, of course, are trade talks. The trade deadline is rapidly approaching. It's just a few weeks away now. And so we're looking at, we saw Tyler Toffoli leave. Is Jeff Petrie going to go? There's a lot of buzz about Jeff Petrie right now. Is Josh Anderson going to get moved? That is, if Tyler Toffoli didn't make fans upset seeing him leave the organization, people are very split about Josh Anderson. And it will be interesting to see if Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon do decide to move him. Arturi Lekkonen's another one that's really upping his trade value. Probably a decent trade chip for Kent Hughes to take advantage of, a very underrated player for the Montreal Canadiens. And who knows if we'll see top prospects like Ryan Poehling or even someone like Jake Evans get packaged out as well. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, the Canadiens did complete a trade just this week when we saw Michael McNiven, the goaltender in the goaltending depth down in Laval, was traded to the Calgary Flames organization in exchange for future considerations. McNiven was immediately sent to their AHL affiliate, the Stockton Heat. This is something that is probably best for McNiven and the organization. It's been a very tense, I think, is the best way to describe it, relationship between the player and the organization for the last few years. Hard to get regular ice time, consistent ice time, shuffled back and forth between the AHL, the ECHL, so on and so forth. So we did see one goaltender finally leave the organization. Now we just have to wait to see what else is going to happen before the trade deadline. Now, if you want the best Montreal Canadiens coverage, analysis, feedback, those kinds of things, and you like to listen to podcasts, I highly recommend that you check out our weekly Canadiens Connection podcast. It's also part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and you can find that. Go to CanadiensConnection.fm, and you can subscribe to the podcast right there. It comes out every Saturday. It's hosted by our president, founder, and editor-in-chief, Rick Stevens, co-hosted by a rotation of team members here at Rocket Sports Media, including myself, Chris G., and as well Michael Spinella. So be sure to check that out, subscribe, and check out our next episode coming up on Saturday. Okay, that's right. You saw the graphic. It is Rocket Booster time. We are, this is the segment every week where we're going to talk about the Laval Rocket and give you a glimpse at how the prospects are doing and how the AHL affiliate is doing. They are currently, unlike their big brothers up in the NHL, the Laval Rocket is currently in a playoff position, and they are fighting to maintain that playoff position as they come down the stretch here. They've got a lot of hockey happening coming up this month and next month. Right now, they're in the midst of a 7-game homestand. They're going to be playing 7 games in 11 days. It's a lot of hockey due to some COVID postponements and so forth that all kind of got compressed and condensed down into this later in the season time frame. This week they faced the Cleveland Monsters twice for the first time this season, and they split those games. They won the first one on Monday night in a shootout 2-1, and then on Wednesday night, Cleveland actually came back in the third period and really put a stamp on the game, winning that over Laval 4-2. We spoke to JF Houle a couple of times throughout the week. Of course, Jean-Francois Houle is the head coach of the Laval Rocket. And here is just a look at what he had to say on Wednesday night after the loss in Cleveland, which happens to be the third time in the last 3 games that the Rocket has suffered some third period trouble and either allowed a team to claw back into the game or overtake them and win the game. And here's what JF had to say.
Well, we took the lead 2-1. We had 3 2-on-1s that we didn't convert, and their goalie played really well, made some big saves. And when you have a chance to convert on the team with the lead, you have to find a way to close it. We didn't, and they pushed back, and they scored a couple of goals late in the period to win the game. So tough loss for us tonight.
We will always focus on the Montreal Canadiens prospects and bring you all the information about how they're doing, how they're progressing in their development, and we'll talk to some of them one-on-one right here on Habs Hockey Report. Again, going back to podcast, if you like podcast, I host with Rick Stevens every Tuesday the Press Zone podcast at the AHL Report. That's where we go in depth on all news about the Laval Rocket and top prospects in the Canadiens organization. And we have some tremendous guests. Coach JF Houle, the head coach of the Laval Rocket, joined us on the show for an exclusive sit-down to talk about his coaching philosophies, player development, and just how he sees things going with the Laval Rocket this season. So again, that's thepresszone.fm. We invite you to subscribe. Check that out every Tuesday. It's a wonderful podcast, lots of great guests. And as I said, here in the Rocket Booster segment, every week on Habs Hockey Report, we're going to bring you all the latest about the Laval Rocket and have some exclusive interviews of our own right here. And so you don't want to miss that. We love that you're here to get news about the Montreal Canadiens and the Laval Rocket, but I'm betting that a lot of you would like to meet and interact with other Habs fans around the world as well. Am I right? I mean, if social media has anything to say about it, Habs fans love to talk to one another. They love to debate with one another, and we love to hear from our fans. So this segment every week is going to be all about you. Of course, the first and foremost way that we want to do that is we want to see what great Habs fans you are. We know that you and your friends have great Habs gear. You've got fan caves decked out. You've got adorable kids and pets that you dress up in Habs stuff. You've got fan tattoos. You've got, you travel all over the world and you take your jersey with you. All of those types of things. We want to see all of it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to resurrect an oldie but a goodie here at Rocket Sports Media. Years ago on social media, we first generated a hashtag called #ShowYourHabs. You've probably seen it scrolling along down at the bottom of the screen there every so often. And that is your cue to show us how big of a Habs fan you are. So whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, post photos of whatever you want to post to show what a big Habs fan you are, or how excited you are for a game, or just amped up for what's coming next for this organization. And make sure that you use the hashtag #ShowYourHabs. When you do, we're going to compile all of those and we're going to bring those to you every single week so that you get to see and meet fans from all over the world and see how everyone else celebrates being a Habs fan, kind of like this. The other thing that we're going to do is have a weekly feedback forum, and that's where, as I said at the top of the show, we're going to ask you a question. We're going to invite you to leave the comments down below, and then next week on the show, we'll read back some of those answers and talk a little bit about them. And so this week, since it's the first episode, we want to know, where are you watching from? As we've heard people say, we know this for a fact, Habs fans are everywhere. They are global. They are all over the world. We've heard from fans in almost every continent over the last 12 years or so that Rocket Sports Media has been around. And so we want to know where you are watching from. I'll get the party started. I am based in Eastern Pennsylvania. I'm about an hour north of Philadelphia, believe it or not. And so that's where I'm coming to you from each and every week. Where are you coming from? Just leave me a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll list them off. A little roll call next week. And of course, tune in next week because we'll have another feedback form question for you that you get to answer. Finally, the third way that we ask you to invite you to interact with us is through a regular MTL Mailbag segment. You are invited at any time to ask us, whether it's in the comments down below, whether you ask it at All Habs or at the AHL Report on Twitter. We will take your questions, and then on a regular basis, we'll sit down and answer some of them for you here right on the show. In fact, we already have our first question. One of our loyal fans on Twitter reached out with a question, and so we're going to put that right into the mailbag and encourage you to do the same. Let me put it up here on the screen. This is coming from at MariePack1, and she asks this morning, this is in response to that Laval loss to Cleveland last night. She says, "Hi, Amy. I really want Primo to succeed, but at this point, can they have him go to Trois Rivières to get his mojo back, at least," with a little prayer emoji. Thank you so much, Marie, for that question. It's a great question. Trois Rivières, of course, is the Habs ECHL affiliate that is new to the organization this year. And basically, Caden Primo, we saw, has struggled mightily at the NHL level. There's a lot to his game that many people, whether they are fans, whether they are in development, whether they are coaches, whether they are analysts, we all agree Caden Primo needs work on his game before he's going to be NHL ready. The best way for him to do that is to get a lot of ice time in the AHL. Keep in mind that for the years that Caden Primo has been in the organization once he turned pro, he has not yet had a single season where he spent the entire season in the American Hockey League. There has always been disruption because of call-ups that were necessary due to injury and COVID and so on and so forth. And for goaltenders take the longest to develop. It's just a known fact. And so it's been a little bit disruptive for Caden Primo's development. Really, the best thing for him is to stay in the AHL. The ECHL wouldn't really serve him very well, but if he stays in the AHL and he continues to work on his game, the AHL is the best place for him to do that. In fact, the loss against Cleveland on Wednesday night really wasn't his fault. There were other defensive breakdowns in the third period. He had some pretty big saves throughout that game. So, Marie, we thank you so much for your question. For all of you, leave a comment down below if you have a question about the Montreal Canadiens or the Laval Rocket or prospects in general, and we will certainly take a look at them or review them. And if we don't answer them down in the comments, then you can bet that we're probably going to answer you right here on the show in an upcoming episode. That is it for us on this first episode of Habs Hockey Report. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Amy Johnson, going to be here with you every single Thursday. I can't wait to get to know all of you, to bring you this information every week, and to bring you some really exciting interviews that you're not going to find anywhere else. And I just can't wait to see all of those photos. Remember, #ShowYourHabs. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Habs Hockey Report right here at All Habs Hockey Magazine.